Hello students, standard 7th. Today we are going to do the revision of the chapter number 6, physical and chemical changes. We already started the revision in the previous session and we discussed about some physical changes. Physical changes means those changes in which only the physical properties are changed, like its shape or size or the state of matters, etc. Like cutting the piece of paper into small pieces, making furniture from the wood, breaking of glass, melting of ice, etc. And we saw that in the physical change, no new substance is made. The substance remains the same. Only its physical properties are getting changed. So those are known as physical changes. And we know that there are two types of changes occurs in nature. And that are physical changes and the others are chemical changes. So the question is, what are chemical changes? And give few examples of it. The change in which one or more new substances are formed, then that is known as chemical change. So, in the chemical change, the original substance is changed and new substances are made. Sometimes only one, sometimes more than one new substances are made. And these chemical changes are also known as chemical reactions. So, for examples, when we burn the piece of paper, it turns into ashes, black. It means that the paper is not remaining the same. The new substance is made. So it is a chemical change. Similarly, when you burn the magnesium ribbon, you are already familiar about it. When we burn the magnesium ribbon, then it starts burning with a dazzling white flame and it turns into ashes, which is totally different from the magnesium ribbon. So here a new substance, that magnesium is reacting with oxygen and produce magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide is totally different from the metal magnesium. So it is a chemical reaction or a chemical change. You can use so many examples. Burning of coal, when we burn the coal, it produces gas, carbon dioxide. So these are the different examples of chemical change. So chemical changes are those changes in which one or new materials are produced, new substances are formed, and the characteristics, chemical property of the original substance is getting changed. When we keep the milk with some curd in it, then overnight when we keep, the next day it turns into the curd. So setting the milk to make the curd is also a chemical change. Fruits like mango, keep it raw. When we buy, they are of green color. Now they are getting ripened and their color is changing, smelling is changing, taste is changing. It is totally different. So it is also a chemical change. Similarly, when you take the lime, select the lime that will be used for the white or the walls. And when you put that lime into the water, it produces heat, and that is also a chemical change. Because the lime is converted into the select lime, calcium hydroxide, and it produces heat also. Sometimes the color of the material is also changed. So, chemical changes are such type of chemical changes and which are referred to as chemical reactions also. Now, next question is what are the characteristics of a chemical change? In physical change, we saw that the original substance remains the same. But in chemical change, the characteristic is that the original material is getting changed and a new material is made which have different characteristics, different type of characteristics having it. So that is the first characteristic, that the properties of the original substance is getting changed and the new substance are made. Second thing is it may produce some heat. Heat are getting evolved also sometimes. Second thing, that sometimes the gas is also produced. Sometimes light also produced. When you burn the firecrackers, then the gas is also produced, light is also produced, and sometimes sound is also produced. So that are the characteristics. The smelling is also being changed or new smells are produced. When we burn the firecrackers, the smelling gases are also produced. Similarly, when the food is getting spoiled, then its taste is also getting changed. So these are the characteristics, that maybe the gas is evolved, heat is produced, or maybe the color of the substance gets changed. Then we will talk about one another about it. That like the iron, we will talk about it when the iron nails are dipped in copper sulfate solution. Now explain the activity of burning of magnesium ribbon and write the chain using an equation. As I already explained you, when we take a piece of iron, magnesium ribbon, and first rub it with the sandpaper. So if there is a layer of oxide is there, it can be removed and the metal is there. Now we have to take a burner or a candle, light it, and hold the piece of magnesium ribbon with the tongs, and then we make it heat, then give heat. Then what will happen? After some few seconds, the magnesium ribbon will start burning. It will burn with the dazzling light, white light and a flame, and then it burn and turn into ashes. So here magnesium first, magnesium's formula is Mg. It reacts with oxygen. That is O2, and it will produce the S, which is known as magnesium oxide. So that is the equation of magnesium ribbon burning. So magnesium, when react with oxygen, it make magnesium oxide. So that is the change which we can represent in the form of equation also. So here these are the two things which are taking part in the chemical reaction, and therefore they are written on the left side. And after that the new substance is made product, so which is written on the right side. So that is called the chemical equations. Next one is, which gas is released when vinegar and baking soda are mixed, and what happens when this gas is passed through lime water? So when we mix the vinegar and baking soda, then we will see that a gas is produced, and that gas is the carbon dioxide gas. Vinegar is an acid. It is also known as acetic acid. Now when it reacts with baking soda, then with the chemical reaction a gas is produced. You will see the bubbles coming out, which are the carbon dioxide gas. Now the question is that how can you say that it is carbon dioxide gas? For that we have to do another thing, that the produced gas must be passed through the lime water. Lime water means we have to take the lime, or we call it chuna. That lime we have to put it in the water and stir it. Then some of the thing will dissolve in it. Then we have to decant that water, which is known as lime water. So now the characteristics of carbon dioxide gas is that it turns the milky, it turns the water, lime water milky, means white color, because when they react, it produces some white substance which is not dissolving in the water, and therefore the water becomes white milky. So here the carbon dioxide gas is produced, CO2, and it is passing through the lime water, that is carbon dioxide. When it is passing through the lime water, its formula is CaOH type, calcium hydroxide. Then calcium carbonate is made. Calcium carbonate is made, which is of white color, which is not dissolving in the water. So due to this white calcium carbonate, it will remain in the water suspended, and therefore the water will turn milky. So that is the question we talked. Next question, as I told you about it, what happens when iron nails are dipped in the copper sulfate solution, and write equation of the change. Now if we take copper sulfate has blue color. Copper sulfate solution have blue color. It is CuSO4. Now when we dip the iron nails, iron is Fe. Iron, the formula is Fe. So when we dip that iron nails in the copper sulfate solution, which is of blue color, then the chemical reaction will take place, and after few minutes, when you take out the iron nails from it and you observe it, then you will see a brownish red layer on it. Because the copper metal is separated from it and it makes the ferrous oxide. Ferrous sulfate means it will make FeSO4 plus Cu. Here the copper metal is separated and that copper metal is making the layer on the iron nail. And the color of the liquid will turn from blue to green because the ferrous sulfate, iron sulfate has green color, and therefore the color of the blue copper sulfate will turn into green and the copper metal is separated, which is making a layer around the iron nails. So that is the chemical equation of that reaction. How would you show that setting of curd is a chemical change? How do we set curd? For that, your mother will take some milk in a container and make it little warm. After making warm, she will take 1 teaspoonful of the curd in it and stir it. Then we keep it overnight. Then after few hours, you will see that the milk is turned into the curd. Milk and curd are totally different things. Curd tastes short, milk is not short. So both the liquid, both the materials are totally changed, and therefore we can say that the setting of curd is a chemical change. What do you mean by rusting of iron? What are the essential conditions for rusting, and how do we prevent rusting? When we keep the iron materials open in a moist weather for a long time, it will get a brown coating of powder. That is known as a rusting of iron. Here, iron react with the oxygen in that and it makes iron oxide. So that rust, that brown powder is the iron oxide. So it is a chemical change. Now the essential conditions. Essential condition is the humidity and the water and oxygen. So generally in the rainy season, humidity is more in the weather, and therefore the oxygen is there. So it turns rusted in this weather. So that are the essential conditions, that oxygen also and the moist weather, means the water vapors must be more in the atmosphere, then it make iron rusting very quickly. Similarly, the salty weather also nearby the sea, there is very high temperature, so the humidity is much more there. So by the sea also, the rusting is getting faster. What should we do to prevent rusting? To prevent rusting, we must cut off the connection of the metal with the moist air. For that, what we can do? We can put oil on it. When we put the oil layer on it, it do not come in contact with oxygen. Second thing is, we can make a coat of paint on it. Generally, we know that the iron swings or our doors or the big gates, we paint it with a color. Why? Then it does not come in contact with the moist air and it do not react, so we can prevent rusting. Or the other thing is to make a coating of another metal on it which is not getting rusted, like zinc, which is known as galvanization, about which we will talk in the next session. So we discussed the questions we have to write down as an assignment, and here we are going to finish the session. Thank you.